And now, it's time for another Dice Tower review with Tom Vasel.
Hey everybody, I'm Tom Vasel, and I really like Dice Forge, a game in which you build your dice and then you roll them over the course of the game. It's so much fun. We played it so many times last year, and I was thrilled when I found there was an expansion coming out with it, because if there's one thing I thought the game could use, it's more variety. So Dice Forge Rebellion definitely adds that variety. It adds 2 large modules and then a bunch of extra cards. So I'm certainly pleased with that. Let's check it out. So there are 2 modules that are included with this expansion. The first is the Revolt of the Titans. So each player is going to put a piece in the middle of this board here. These pieces are going to represent your character, and you're going to be moving up and down a loyalty track here. You're going to be either helping the Titans and going against the gods, or you're going to show your loyalty to the gods and move up. Wherever your token is at the end of the game, you are going to gain or lose that many points on that track. There's a few minor rules. I almost wish they had them, but basically when you're moving up the track here, you move up it slower. When you're moving down, it moves a whole lot faster. And the same thing here, it's harder to move up while it's really fast to move down. That being said, if you are in these different areas, when an event happens, you're going to get bonuses. So if you are here, anytime you roll a gold, you get extra gold. If you're here, you get an extra gold and a victory point. Here, an extra gold and a victory point. Anytime you roll victory points, you get an extra victory point. Here, whenever you buy a card, if you're the very first person to do so, you get 3 points. Otherwise 2 if it's the first time you've bought that card. And here, 5 and 3 victory points. Now, this is all about collecting a new type of resource, ancient shards. And so you'll get one of these, you'll stick it underneath your board, and it's another resource that you're collecting. And these are wild resources. They act as either of the 2 main resources that a player has. You can use them for either one. Also, you have, an ability to keep 6 more of these. To help this out, players are going to start with 2 different new sides to the starting dice. This one here gives you a loyalty and a victory point, so it moves you up 1 on the loyalty track, gives you a victory point. And this one gives you one of those ancient shards. But anytime you gain an ancient shard, you move down 1 on the loyalty track. So you'll be able to customize this. Some of the cards will give you more sides. Now, this one here you put on someone else's die. Whenever they roll it, you get this and another die, and you can pick loyalty or shard. Here you can take some shards and gold, or take some gold and loyalty and points. And here, same thing, and these are just like the dice from the basic game. There's also a bunch of cards that are specifically for use with this module. Easily, you can tell them because of the dark blue at the top. These, of course, are going to just give you the size of dice I showed you. This, once per turn, will give you a shard or loyalty. The other side of the dice are included on these. And this lets you get a re-roll of the die at the beginning of your turn. And if you get a shard or loyalty, everyone else loses 1 loyalty on the track. These allow you to put tokens on different islands, and when you use that island, you'll get loyalty or shards based on which one you pick. So this is the first of the 2 modules. Let's take a look at the second one. The second module is the Goddess module, and on this one you're going to be moving a golem down a track here. And you're going to start with one of your dice, which has this on the side of it, and when you roll this, you can move forward 1 on the track. Now as you're moving forward, you match the arrows, so you could do this, or you could just go right down the middle. You can go up the top, you can go up the top and then go down to the middle, and eventually you go around here until you get to the end. If you get to the end, you get 15 points, and the first person to the end gets a free roll and use their dice. But every space you go on is going to give you benefits, and there's all kinds of benefits on these. At the top, there's a lot of victory points. If you go down to the bottom, you get different things. Sometimes it lets you roll this new celestial die. The celestial die, which gives you 12 gold, 5 victory points. Pick someone else's die and use it. Upgrade one of your levels on your dice to a new side, 3 victory points, and then some other bonus. This is just all amazing stuff on this die, and many of these will let you roll 1 time or even 2 times. Some will let you change gold or different resources into victory points. When you're the first person to get one of these spots, you'll pick one of these tiles. So if I go here, I get 10 points. I then put on the other side, and anyone else who lands there will get 2 points. Or maybe I want, 4 of these crystals, and everyone else will get 1 afterwards. And so you get a chance to move on these. You'll have a chance to buy new sides of the tiles. These red ones and the blue ones both give you move forward 1. If you roll both in the same time, you also get to roll the celestial dice. And this module also comes with cards you play with it that are marked with brown at the top. This one just moves you instantly back 2. You even get the spots when you move backwards on them. Let you move forward 2. So this one's very straightforward, but giving you these places to move on the track will give you extra things. And then finally, there's a whole pile of cards. You can use these cards with these new modules, or you can use them with the old stuff. It doesn't matter. And just a variety of different cards that you can put in that will do various things. As players go through and look and choose which of these to do, they're all pretty simple. Like this one here gives you 3 gold and 1 victory point. But if you have 8 or more gold, you just take 2 victory points instead at the beginning of your turns. Beginning of your turn here, you get 4 gold and you can buy a tile at the beginning of your turn. This one gives you 2 points for every different card that you've bought thus far. And so there's a lot of neat little things that you'll find that are in these. There's one that lets you roll the die and stuff. Here, this one lets you trade gold in, 1 gold for 1 victory points, as many times as you want when you buy it. This one here, you can turn over and you can use gold over the course of the game to buy the other resources. This one here, you can force everyone else to roll the dice and you get to pick one thing. You'll take all the gold that's rolled or all the victory points that are rolled. This makes everyone else lose 1 of each of those, and then you get it. So this takes 5 points from whoever has the least gold. There are some negative stuff in here, some negative things. Here's the one that lets you roll the celestial die. And some of them are also positive things. This one on the back, you get a token on here, and you'll move it forward at the beginning of your turn, and you can move it back to take it off whenever you want, and then take the red resource and victory points. And you have to decide how long you're going to let it go on the track. So this just adds more variety to the base game, more cards. So I like the extra options for sure. So the components for this are really well done. It is everything in here fits really nicely in the box. The tiles here come in a sleeve with a rubber band on like the original ones did. You can see all the pieces fit in here in very perfect slots. You have the 2 different types of cards for the modules go in here, and then the rest of the cards go in these spots, the extra tiles. It's just a really well done insert, and it even fits nicely sideways and all the pieces don't fall out. Something I'm happy with. I especially like how the new piece here fits directly under the other ones. It slides right into place, just kind of snaps in like that, and I think that's pretty cool. This is how you do a production. Just A+ on how this comes together. So let's talk about the modules first. I was wondering in the game, could you use both modules at the same time? But you can't because they're on 2 sides of this piece of cardboard. That's not a bad thing. Both modules, if you use them at the same time, I think would add too much complexity to the game anyway. So let's talk about the modules. The first module, the Titans, the Rebellion one, where you move up and down the track, I don't mind it. It's fine. It's interesting to move up and down. You can move down that track and lose points at the end of the game, which could really, cause you to lose the game. But getting all those wild resources, those shards over the course of the game, it's crazy useful. You can buy all kinds of points and do all these feats and just over and over and over, and you feel rich. But at what cost? So what you want to do is you want to do all those, and then at the end of the game, you're try to be as loyal as you possibly can and move your token up. On the other hand, if you move up the loyalty track, you're getting all that extra gold and you'll be able to do things, but you will be a little bit tempted at watching the other person sitting there going, ha ha ha, shards. It's a nice back and forth seesaw, but I found it to be good, not fantastic. The other side though, the goddess module, I really like. I love moving up those tracks. I like how there's various places to move up. They give you all sorts of options. You can move up the slow track and get more victory points or more things, or move faster up it because you want to be the first one to the end to get those bonus 15 points there. Either way, it feels like you have more options and things to do, and it's another thing to add to the side of the dice. Rather than just getting gold, the resources, and points, now you have gold, resources, points, or move on the track. And it's some nice back and forth. Really like that side. I felt like it offered a lot of good choice. And that celestial die, that extra die to roll, is so awesome. And every time you roll that, sure, some sides feel better than others, but man, it's just great to roll that die and get some uber reward. I like it. The extra cards, they're fine. There's now tons of different options for this game. And so this is the point of satisfaction for me. If they make more expansions for Dice Forge, I'm okay with that. I'm okay with buying more for it and adding more to it, but this is very satisfactory. I feel like the base game already gave you a couple different choices for each slot. You now have 4 choices, I think, for every slot. That's enough for a huge variety of games. In fact, the way they package this game up, if you want to play both modules in a row, you could play like just the Goddess and then the other one with only new cards, and you can play with completely different cards for each game. I think that's neat. That adds all those different cards. You don't have to touch the base game. You can play with just cards from the new game. Once you start mixing the base cards in, so many different options and so much variety in this game. Dice Forge was a game that I already liked a lot. I think this expansion adds even more. It adds more stuff without being too complex. You're just moving something on a track or two. That's it. It's fun. If you want it more for Dice Forge, this expansion is going to be right up your alley. I also like how the boxes just fit right next to each other. You take the lids off and set them up a little bit, and everything's right there in the middle of the table. Great production, great fun, great expansion. Dice Tower Judgment approved.